Hello, everyone. It's Royce here, and I want to welcome you all to my YouTube channel, The Four Horsemen, your ultimate channel for everything rock and roll, classic rock, some metal thrown in there, and even some, pop thrown in there as well. But we try to focus on the classic rock as much as possible. Listen, guys, if you happen to see a strange comment in the chat, we have been getting trolled for the last few weeks and people were even trolling us on other channels, believe it or not, which sounds strange. So there are some trolls out there. They've been hitting the channels. They weren't on Michael's tonight. Hopefully,
Yes, they were.
oh, they
Royce, can I take a
were. I
minute?
did. Michael, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Kimberly didn't know what to do with the comment. It was in code, and
I see. I see.
it was a comment against me, so we didn't catch him. So the little dweeb probably felt he is feeling so good right now. This time he came in as Mickey Leach. He
Mm,
comes in as Michael Leach. We
Michael
all
Leach.
know who
Yeah, we,
this
we
is.
we banned him last
Uh,
week.
And I know some of your viewers out there, Royce, are fine with this dweeb. And that's fine. You know, everybody's got a tune they got to dance with. And I got my own tune. And he is a troll. And he's not welcomed on
No,
my
he's no,
channel.
no, no.
And I know he's not
He's
welcomed
not
over
welcome.
here.
He absolutely is not welcome.
Right.
Welcome here.
So if
Absolutely
you see any leaks or uh, a channel with the initials PV, you
not.
know,
Okay.
uh, I know
Well,
some of the folks that watch your show are take no offense at this guy or take little they take him for with a grain of salt and everything. And if
yeah.
you folks want to believe that, that's fine. But this is a personal thing that I want nothing to do with. And I know a lot of our viewers tonight are of the tribe. So tribal marshals
Yeah.
who are deputized over here, do your thing. That's all
Well,
I can say.
Ergus Splitton saw the message on your channel. He says it was
Uh,
from Cracks Knuckles. He says he saw the comment. It was borderline, but he was watching him. Ergus Splitton was watching him.
that and
And
Kimberly was watching him too. No one made the move, and she read back the comment to me, and I go, "Oh, okay, it's code humor,"
right.
and it was like. So here's the thing: trolls. What they like is see they live in the dark and they come out to meet the light in their troll remarks. And
Yeah.
so for
Yeah.
him, it was a bit of a victory and all I can say is, well played, sir. We'll be ready for you next time.
Okay. Right.
You know,
Right. Okay, everybody. So we're going to kind of continue on with the conversation we were having over on Michael's channel about one of my favorite old bands, the Moody Blues. I've been a fan of the Moody Blues, I'm going to say since around 69, okay, 1969. And love the band. They are great. And so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. But first of all, I'll ask everybody to hit that like button. Hit that like button. It helps us get distributed to a wider audience. And if you're not already a subscriber, and as I see who's in the chat, I'm going to assume everybody is. But if you're not, or if you join later, you're watching later, because everybody knows you get more views as the days go on. And so if you're watching the show later, hit that subscribe button. Come visit the channel. We have a whole bunch of rock and roll stories, classic rock stories to show you, as well as a couple of other playlists that are not rock oriented. But the focus is on the rock and roll. So please come and join us. Hit that subscribe button. We got John Foster came in, Jersey Devil came in, George Pita, Caitlin. Most of them I've said hi to in the chat. Okay, guys, so let's go on here. We're going to be talking about the one and only
to
Moody.
each and every one of you.
All right.
Sorry, Royce.
No, no, it's okay. The initial focus is rest in peace, singer bassist John Lodge, who passed away on the 10th, 2 days ago. He died suddenly and unexpectedly at age 82. His family has confirmed the Moody Blues was credited. His family has confirmed that he died at age 82. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. So the Moody Blues was credited, and we had this conversation on your show, Michael, with making the first Prog album. And there was some speculation. I even read also, you brought this up, Michael. because it was brought up on your channel. But I also read that Frank Zappa may have been credited with the first Prog album. That wasn't going over very big on your channel.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I go with it either. He had a big band and people came and went. And I am a Zappa fan, don't get me wrong. I probably got as many as 6 videos on Frank Zappa. And a lot of them are a lot of fun, and a lot of them were big hits too.
Right.
One of my favorites, Michael, I don't know if you've seen this one yet, but it's, John and Yoko were brought over to Frank Zappa's house in New York by a reporter. And he introduced them, and they kidded around a little bit. John Lennon's first comment to Frank Zappa is, "Oh, you're better looking than I thought you were." And so the story went on, and Zappa says, "Hey, John, why don't you and Yoko come by the Fillmore East tonight, where I'm going to be performing? And once I get done with my set, you guys come up and we'll jam together." So that happened, and I've got the picture of it. I've got the picture of the 3 of them on the stage at the Fillmore East, and they're jamming together. And Frank Zappa told him, he said, "Listen, here's the ground rules. I'm going to have the whole thing recorded. I record everything I do here at the Fillmore. So, and I'm going to give you a copy of the recording. You guys do whatever you want with it, and I'll do whatever I want with my copy if you want to use it in some of your other stuff." Okay, so before Zappa knew what happened, John Lennon and Yoko put it on one of their albums, and it was actually not part of the jam. It was actually a song that was called King Kong that Zappa already had on one of his albums. And he said, I don't know how John Lennon could have mistaken this for a jam just because of the way it was structured. It was our song, King Kong. So John Lennon changed the name of it to Jamrag, which meant feminine napkin in French, and took writing credit for it and played their exact song, Zappa's exact song. Zappa was not real happy with that, but he was pretty cool about that stuff, and he just let it go. He didn't make a big deal out of it. He didn't ask for anything. He just let it go. But he did tell the story, and I told the story, and it was a fun story to tell. And there's a number of them like that. Like I said, I'm a Zappa fan. I've got another video about Frank Zappa calling John Wayne a Nazi, a drunk John Wayne, a Nazi at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And that's a pretty fun story too, as well as a biggie that I had close to 70,000 views on. And that was, Frank Zappa sending a request to Ian Anderson on his deathbed, Zappa's deathbed, to call him. And Ian just struggled internally with that for days. And Zappa finally passed. And now he wishes he would have called him, because basically they had a strained relationship. Zappa kind of blamed the English bands like Jethro Tull with taking away from the American bands during the British invasion. I don't think I brought that up during my British invasion show the other day, but he was, that's what Ian Anderson's attitude was, that Frank resented all the British bands, including him. So they never were really close, and a couple of off-color things were said about one another. So anyway, enough of that. We're not talking about Zappa. We're talking about John Lodge and the Moody Blues. So anyway, I got carried away with my. It was mentioned that Zappa may have written made the first Prog song. So anyway,
my whole argument on it, Royce, it gets down to this. I'll acquiesce to Doc's, because Doc Insomnia first brought this up. Because Zappa did put the album out 1 year before the Moody Blues, but my whole take on it is, I'll prove my point right now without anybody looking at any notes. Name every member of Frank Zappa and the Mother of Invention. Now, go, both of you. Can you?
No. Not at all.
I stopped counting at member number 49. Okay, so
right.
In that sense, I see him more as a solo artist, and I even made this point on my channel earlier tonight. It's kind of like John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band. Plastic Ono Band is whoever in the fuck is there when the Plastic Ono Band is either recording or playing live. That was the Plastic Ono Band. Right. It was Absolutely. To be malleable, and even John Lennon couldn't outcount Frank Zappa for members. Okay.
Right.
Even if you put Elephant's Memory in there, he couldn't account for the membership that Frank Zappa has on his albums. And so to me, when we talk about John Lodge, which is the tribute tonight, and further discussion on his magnificent group, the Moody Blues, with, and I know some of the folks are going to be bringing up Denny Lane, Patrick Moraz, but keep in mind what other group gave us what Justin Hayward, Graham Edge, Ray Thomas, uh, and who am I missing right now? Graham Edge, blah, 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 Mike Pender, right?
Mike Pender.
Gave us. All right, so you can name them off, and I did a better job on my string, by the way. I didn't have that blurb because they just come. These members, these are rock gods. Every single one of them are rock gods, and they are rock gods because they were in the Moody Blues. It wasn't a super group, right? They were unknown. They took over. They were two of them were replacement members and became the Lennon and McCartney for the Moody Blues,
Right,
and of course.
right.
That's Justin Hayward and not Graham Edge, but John Lodge. And over there, I said John Lodge is kind of like almost the George Harrison of the group because Justin Hayward wrote so many songs, for the band that John Lodge's stuff almost seems like a here and there kind of thing. But he really was the McCartney or the Lennon to whoever Justin Hayward would be compared to. He was the second most prolific member, and some of the band said he was the heart and soul of the band. May he rest in peace, Royce.
May he rest in peace. A lot of people said he was the heart and soul of the Moody Blues. Now, John Lodge, bassist, singer, songwriter, joined the band in '66. The band started in '64. Denny Lane and Clint Warwick quit the band after the first album came out, and John Lodge and Justin Hayward joined the band at that point. He was a pioneering force in the development of symphonic progressive rock. His contributions were crucial to the band's iconic sound, and songs like the ones he wrote, I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band, and Isn't Life Strange, are among their most well-known. He was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with the Moody Blues and received a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2019. It was from the Prog Awards. Okay. So before I go any further, I just want to thank a couple of people here. I want to give Ergo Splittin' Loudon Boomer, my good buddy, a shout out for, the $2 super chat. Much appreciated, brother.
Gear Jam.
Power of two so much. So thank you very much. And I want to give a shout out to a contributor last week, which was one and only Michael Nolan, the bottom line. Michael gave me a $9.99 super chat. Michael, thank you, man. I appreciate that. So, okay, guys, Dan, haven't got to hear from you yet. And this is Dan McNew. Dan McNew has his own channel, Just the Facts Man. And Dan and I go back a long ways. Dan's got a very diverse channel. He's big into the music. He covers a lot of bands. Dan and I have actually interviewed a couple of bands, including a couple of band members, including Mark Farner, from Grand Funk Railroad, who's got his own, what's it called, the American Band now, Dan?
Yeah, Mark Farner's American Band.
Yeah, the American Band. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And so was the other interview we did. That was a great interview. I mean, we've interviewed quite a few musicians. Yeah, we have. Yeah. So Dan's got a diverse channel. You guys will really enjoy it. Check out Just the Facts Man. My good friend Dan. Known him for a long time now. And of course, everybody knows Michael Nolan, a man that needs no introduction. Michael Nolan, the bottom line. Anyway, Dan, I know you're a
who's that guy?
Yeah, right. I know you're a Moody Blues fan, Dan. Why don't you tell us what you know about the Moodies?
Well, I first discovered the Moody Blues in 1971.
Yeah.
My future brother-in-law was home on leave and he brought it's Moody Blues albums. We listened to, and I fell in love with the Moody Blues then. And and to this day, my favorite album is still Days of Future Past. That's my favorite album, of course.
Absolutely. I had 3 copies of that. Didn't I send you one, Michael?
Yes, you did.
That's I gave one away to somebody else as well, and I still have a copy. And I tell you what, the vinyl was pristine on all 3.
There
copies.
it is, Royce, the very one you sent me. I showed it, and when I was showing it, I was thinking that I got that from you, because I don't recall finding 2 in the wild. And I go, that one must be, but I wasn't sure. I was going to ask you backstage, so sorry about that.
Okay, quick message here to Novice Nick. Novice Nick showed up, and Novice, I want you to know, I just put a link up. Novice is a rotating horseman. So I got a link up here, Novice. Come on, get up here and join us, brother. Okay, well, all right. So go ahead, Dan.
Well, y'all were talking about Frank Zappa possibly being the first prog band. Even if that's so, he wasn't consistent about it. Moody Blues were consistent about it for many years. I think they perfected it.
Yes.
At least for their style, they perfected it. And also talk about original members of bands. Just because you're an original member of a band doesn't mean that's the best lineup of that band.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
There are so many replacement musicians out there that made bands successful because, look at Neil Peart,
right,
from Rush.
Right.
He was a replacement drummer, and he became the focal point of that band.
Absolutely. There's band after band like that,
Yeah.
And sometimes, we've seen the Foreigners and them going out, touring as Foreigner without a single original member. That gets to be a little too much. But you know what? I would still anytime go see if it
at
came
least
out,
they're true Foreigners now, though.
Yeah.
The whole band's made up of a bunch of foreigners.
Well, if you look at like the Rolling Stones is a good example. Okay, they lost a couple of members early on, and then they added some members, and then the drummer died. The original longtime drummer died. That was heartbreaking to see that. But to me, they'll always, like with this lineup, they're still the Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
And when you keep a couple of really key members that are kind of the anchors of the band, they can get away with it. But when you're down to one member, he's better off just calling himself a solo act. Hi, Mick Jagger.
It's like with AC/DC. When they lost Bon Scott,
right?
They had to replace him with Brian Johnson. Well, not to take away from Bon Scott. To me, Bon Scott and Brian Johnson were both successful with the band. One singer didn't make that form of the band any more famous than the other. To me, they were equal. But there are some situations where a replacement comes in and is actually better. Now, I don't know if that's the case with John Lodge and Denny Lane or not. Probably so.
Yeah.
I think John Lodge probably helped the band a lot more than Denny Lane did at the time. Well, at least eventually it worked out.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, people are asking about, I mentioned the rotating horseman, the 4th horseman, because at the time we have 3 permanent horsemen, and they're on the stage right now. The 3 of us are permanent. We're the 3 longest members that have participated with one another on the show. And so we're permanent. And then there was a group of guys, that would come on at times, and we thought, well, we'll rotate them in and out. Novice Nick hasn't been on in a couple of weeks. He's in there now. I'll mention it once again, Nick. I have a link up. Go ahead and hit that link and come backstage. So
become the 4th horseman, Nick. I dare you.
Yeah, and see, we did that, so we limited the participation to 4. 6, 7 people, 8 people. It just gets to be, I won't say chaotic, but all the pictures are very small. It's hard to, keep track of whose turn it is to talk, and everybody winds up starting talking at the same time and things like that. So anyway, there's a link up. It says, Dan, link to join the panel. I didn't switch the name I didn't switch the name to Nick like I did the first time I put it up, but Nick, where are you? We're looking for you, Nick. Okay, well, All right. We've decided that, we've got a small group of 3 or 4 people will rotate in and out. And 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 we'll rarely rotate anybody else in. Yeah, I'm not saying it's never going to happen, but it doesn't happen often. Piccolino the cat, good to see you. I love Piccolino the cat. Everybody go check
Oh
that
yeah.
channel out. Be sure to watch it. They're nice, short, fun little videos, and there's a kitty cat named Piccolina, and it's just fun to watch. It's actually uplifting to watch too. So anyway, all right, go
Something
ahead.
something that Michael brought up in his podcast a little while ago was the fact that a lot of these musicians are just getting up in age now too. So we need to expect this to be
Yeah,
happening more often. And what's
yeah,
odd, I'm not sure what the details of was John Lodge. I know he had a stroke, and while he was in the hospital, they discovered he had cancer, and he just was too weak to go through the cancer treatment.
you go to yes,
But I think on the same day, Ace Frehley possibly had a stroke as well, and
Yeah, I heard something about that
he's had to cancel his entire tour
tour.
coming up,
Yeah.
and they're saying
yeah,
he's got weakness on his left side. So it's sad, but
right,
it's a real it's
right.
a reality.
It
It's a,
is.
it's a
Yeah.
reality of growing older,
Yeah.
and
It's sad.
it is, and it's like, you know, it's hard to make long-term plans these days. It's like my wife said,
Thank you, Jorge.
I've been suffering with a sore knee for about 3 months now. I haven't been to the doctor or anything, and she goes, "Yeah, there's certain things we go on vacation. We may not be able to hike up to Diamond Head or be able to hike because you're always complaining about your knee." And it's like it just kind of hit me,
Yeah.
Well, that's
you
what I've
know.
got. That's one of the things I've had to take into consideration with my trip coming up in December to London and
Mhm.
Birmingham.
Yeah,
I'm trying to create the trip where there's very little walking.
right,
I mean,
right. Well, Dan, you know that the Moody Blues were formed in Birmingham, right?
yes, and as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, I was looking up some items today that I think I'm going to visit while I'm over there as well.
Oh, good.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you come back with. As far as where you toured, what you did, who you saw. I
Yeah,
mean, and even Ashley Alexander, if you see him, definitely tell
yeah,
him I said hi. Tell him to pop on the channel sometime.
yeah.
I'd love to have a chat with him.
That guy's a
Okay.
trooper, though. That was the guy. That guy was a trooper because London's
Yeah,
like six. Well, for you, I think London's like what 8 hours ahead.
yeah,
So,
yes,
so
yeah, about
Yeah.
that.
he,
Yeah,
It's eight ahead of us. Yeah.
and so I
right,
mean, he
right,
he was up like 3 in the morning doing the show.
right.
Good Lord.
So I want to just say that John Lodge. We'll talk a little bit more about the Moody Blues, but more on John Lodge first. Um, he joined the band in '66. Was part of what they call the classic lineup when him and Hayward joined, Justin Hayward, with the guys that were existing. That was considered the classic lineup, and pretty much for the rest of the rest of the existence, playing 15 of 16 studio albums and becoming a driving force as the band evolved. Of course, we're talking about John Lodge. Okay, so in addition to his bass playing, he was a significant songwriter, penning many of the band's classics and a lead vocalist as well on several of their biggest hits. Okay, Lodge's work with the band, you know, helped move them from. They started out as kind of an R&B band before the first couple of guys left. To a lush, they left the R&B thing with Lodge's help, became a symphonic band, making them pioneers of progressive rock. The Hall of Fame induction they had as members of the Moody Blues was 2018. His Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2019 annual Prog Awards was given to him, and he's been voted. Michael, have you ever heard this before? How about you, Dan? One of the top 10 bassists of all time by Bass Player
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah,
You
I've
know,
heard that. Yeah,
you've heard that? Have you
yeah.
heard that? I hadn't heard
No,
that.
I hadn't. I said he'd be in the top 50 of all rock basses just based on his ability.
Yeah,
I wouldn't consider him a top tenor,
right.
but
You said
I don't judge him as an artist, just like I don't judge McCartney as an artist on his bass playing alone. All right.
yeah,
It,
Yeah.
it
Oh
was
no. with his
So
songwriting.
John brought so much more than just his bass playing. However, his bass playing was absolutely wonderful. Sometimes intricate, sometimes simple, but never too intricate that he couldn't sing. Wow, he plays bass. I'm a bass player. I can tell you, playing bass lines and singing a lead in a song is a tough job. You know, it really is.
Right. I'm laughing because Dr. Insomnia said, if you want a fourth horse, put a picture of Mr. Ed in the corner. Hey, I got to tell you, I love this guy's comments, you know.
Oh, by the way,
he's usually right
a
on
lot
with
of
all
people.
it.
I was going to say a lot of people don't know that he co-wrote with Justin Hayward "Gemini Dream,"
Yeah.
Okay.
right? And that was a huge hit for them. So, and of course, "Ride My Seesaw." You know, I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. What was the other one? The soft one. Um, he wrote plenty of songs that you've or co-wrote plenty of songs
Yeah.
that you've heard. You
Mi-
know, this guy was a major player.
Michael,
And,
did you like Denny Lane in Wings? He
oh,
appeared
of
on the
course,
classic album.
I
Yeah.
did. Oh, yeah.
He was so
absolutely.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's what made them an actual band. Other than Denny and Linda, you had it was kind of like Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention, or John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band. He had a cavalcade of members coming, leaving, departing, replacing, and
Yeah.
all of that. But
Right.
Denny Lane was there from the outset to the end, and even bleeding into McCartney's fabulous Tug of War
Okay.
album. And he wrote more than people uh, uh, are generally aware of. And one of the prime examples, if you take a look at Mulleth Kintyre, it just says written by Paul McCartney. Not so. Denny Lane had the verses, McCartney had the chorus. They co-wrote it together. Then Paul McCartney bought out Denny's side of it
Yeah.
behind the scenes and took on full authorship. But it's not just Paul's song. And there are other songs that we could bring up that
Yeah. Well,
indicate that. So,
I remember he was a very celebrated member of that band.
oh
No, I
yeah,
didn't.
well he was deputy leader. He's the
Okay.
guy that got the band together. And if Paul and Linda are having a cuppa at the farmhouse out at Rude Studios, it was Denny putting them through their paces. He was deputy leader. He was nobody's yes man by any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very talented guy.
Yeah.
Bringing up
And we just lost him. We just lost
Yeah.
him. The only Moody standing is Justin Hayward now.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, Piccolino the Cat, I wanted to ask, Dan and Michael, I hate to bring up Barclay James Harvest, but they are a poor man's Moody Blues, one of my very favorite bands. Now, I'm not really familiar with them. Are you guys?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I'm just curious.
No.
I'm just curious.
But I'll review this and check it out, Piccolino.
Yeah.
Always willing to learn more. Right now there's probably some true rock fans out there going, to Four Horsemen. Yeah. But
I know.
I've never ever tried to pull myself off as a expert on rock and roll. I've got some expertise on the music that moved to me, and that's about it. But I'm always willing to learn, and having a channel, it's almost stupid not to learn. So I'll be on the lookout for that band.
Yeah,
Yep.
we have to
Thank
learn.
you.
We have to always continue to learn. I learn something on every show that I do. Every show that I do, I learn something.
Something I wanted to do a little research on was John Lodge's history in music. Where did he start? And he didn't have a whole lot of history, but he did. I don't know if you knew this, but him and Ray Thomas actually were in a band together before the Moody Blues.
Right.
Called what was it called? El Riot and the Rebels, something like that.
Okay.
And then and he hung around the music scene for a while. Then he took a year off to finish college, and then after that, he got into the Moody Blues. So he
Yeah, he
didn't
was
really.
being trained to be an engineer.
Yes. Yeah.
So it wasn't, it's like he had another arrow pointed. And as I brought up in my stream, he was a Christian man.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that what he was being trained for, he was hoping, but it probably his direction was going to go in that direction, and Providence worked out in his favor, Dan.
Yeah, because he actually attended, I think it was called the College of Birmingham Technology, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, if you're a musician and you're just starting off, it's probably a smart thing to do. Just like a professional football player, get that education in case your dream doesn't come true. You've got something to fall back on,
Well, I tell you, I just want to mention.
Okay, sure. Rub my personal history in my face, Dan.
I mean, Caitlin's becoming a badass, man. I really appreciate her. She's like, no, James, but I can shove where the sun doesn't shine if you insist.
Wow.
Whoa!
Yeah,
who's she talking to?
She whooped that troll's ass last week. That was badass, man. Hey, Douglas Gilbert, how you doing, brother? Okay, he
just don't use the waffle term, Caitlin. It shocks Kimberly.
the bark. Okay, Douglas Gilbert knows the Barclay James Harvest band that Piccolina brought up. He says that it's an excellent prog band. The first album I bought was the one with the baby in the flower pot. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Now that sounds familiar.
I know that sounds familiar to me.
Like an album cover that I've come across.
Right.
And the more I'm hearing the name, it's like the Fogs, but I'm not hitting anything. But it's like I may have had a general awareness of them at one time in my youth, but I don't know.
I'm thinking that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, I am one of them.
Looking it up now.
Says I have 2 records by Barclay James Harvest, and they are on the Harvest label. So that's cool. So there are fans here. There are people that like them. Led to the Moody's failure to get a follow-up single led to their glorious resurrection. Yeah, that's right. That's right. James Watson, Royce, Caitlin is threatening me. Kick her out. Now you got to understand, Caitlin gets preferential treatment here, guys. As do you, my brother. But yeah, Caitlin could probably kick me out easier than I could kick her out. I really have to check out Barclay's James Harvest. Dr. Rick, that sounds like a great idea. Okay, guys. So, all right. So let's talk about some of the other accomplishments of John Lodge. Okay. His work has been recognized with awards from other outfits like the ASCAP and Ivor Novello. He was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Outside of the band, the Moody Blues, he released solo albums and collaborated with other musicians. I would imagine that for sure. Lodge's bass lines were noted for their supple and groundbreaking nature. I got to start listening to my albums here a little bit. Okay, he wrote and co-wrote a number of Moody Blues, most enduring and famous songs such as I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band, and Isn't Life Strange? Okay, so Lodge once stated, that he hoped the Moody Blues music would be a catalyst to make them go on and talk about other things, suggesting the band's music help people think about other topics. Okay, so anyway, he was a bass player and a massive-hearted man. Let's see. So the Moody Blues were an English rock band formed in Birmingham in May 1964. Imagine that, Dan, May 1964. The band initially consisted of Graham Edge, drums, Denny Lane, guitar and vocals, Mike Pinder, keyboard and vocals, and Ray Thomas, multi-instrumentalist and vocalist. Clint Warwick at the time when they formed were bass and vocals. The band came to prominence with the UK #1 and US top 10 single, Go Now. I remember that song. In late 64, early 65, Lane and Warwick both left the band, And so, okay, hold on one second, folks. Both left the band in '66 with Edge, Pinder, and Thomas, the three remaining members recruiting Justin Hayward, guitarist and vocals, and John Lodge, bass, vocals, and songwriting. This was considered the classic lineup because this is the lineup that stayed together after that first year indefinitely. Okay. They embraced the psychedelic rock movement in the 60s with their second album, Days of Future Past, 1967, a fusion of rock with classical music performed with the London Festival Orchestra, folks. The London Festival Orchestra. God, I'm getting all tongue-tied for some reason. So I'm going to show. I have a copy of that album right here, and as you can see, it does say Days of Future Past, and it does say the London right up here, the London Festival Orchestra. Okay, and this is a great album. Nights in White Satin. Are you kidding me? This is like such an epic album. That's such an epic song. I mean, the whole thing is good. Okay, Days of Future Past, the Moody Blues, and it gives all the stats here. You know. And I love this album. This is my favorite Moody Blues album. And I have, 7 or 8 more. I kind of have them in order here. I might as well, while I'm up, I'll show another one. This is In Search of the Lost Chord. This is also a great album, Search of the Lost Chord. And you can see a whole bunch of pictures on the back of the guys, which is cool.
They always dressed cool in those years.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll show one more, then we'll get back to our story. This is the Moody Blues on the Threshold of a Dream.
I love that one.
Yeah, this is a.
That's my favorite.
I didn't take the plastic covers off, so I'm fighting that ring light. Why don't I just turn the damn thing off?
There you go, man. Keep as cool as you can, for it rather them to believe you the West. They will.
Okay.
Keep on thinking free.
This is cool. They've all got great songs on them. You know, In the Beginning, Lovely to See. That was written by Hayward. Dear Diary, Send Me No Wine, written by John Lodge. To Share Our Lives, once again, Lodge. Deep Within You, Pinder. Never Comes the Day, Hayward. Lazy Day, Thomas. Are You Sitting Comfortably? Hayward and Thomas.
A fleet of golden galleons.
Okay. Okay, I'll quit right there before it gets out of control. Okay, let me get the guys all up here again. Okay, all right. Well,
do you have the In Search of a Lost Chord?
Yes, I do.
I love that one too.
Yeah,
I think I think out of all the Moody Blues, I think In Search of a Lost Chord is probably my third favorite album. On Threshold of a Dream would be number 2, and the Days of Future Past would be number 1.
Okay, yeah, no, that In Search of the Lost Chord was actually the second one that I showed. That was this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
and
anyway,
these album covers, folks, are a good reason to own vinyl. Right there.
Yeah.
On CD, these look sucky poo to me. But man, you got them right in front of your face, 12 inches wide, 12 inches high. And man, it just looks wonderful.
Well, I want to welcome Star Trekker. How you doing, brother? I haven't seen you in a little while, and it's always a good feeling to see you here. Hey, while I've got a moment here, just remind everybody once again to hit that like button, that thumbs up like button. Distributes the show to the algorithm searches for a bigger audience. They keep putting your show in front of people searching for content. If you reach that first threshold of 50, I have no idea where I'm at or if I'm going to come close to hitting that by the end of the show. But if I did hit 50, that's like a big thing, guys. Also, if you're not a subscriber, not everybody that's watching is in the chat. You know, some people, might think things like this get a little clicky. I don't. Just come join the fun. And by the second show, you won't feel like it's clicky anymore. But some people do.
No, our group, the group here is very inviting and welcoming. The
Well,
folks in the chat would welcome new chatters.
Oh yeah,
every time.
We love new people to come into the chat. So if you're sitting on the outside, reading the chat, watching the show, man, just jump right in. Just jump right in.
Absolutely. Water's fine.
Like to see you here. Yeah, the water's fine.
Yeah, we've got 34 thumbs up so far.
Okay. So
we're on.
If by some miracle we got 16 before the end of the show, we'd get a real bump in the next couple of days as far as views. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, go ahead.
Something I noticed is just kind of odd. With John Lodge passing away and the circumstances behind that, the things leading up to it, it kind of reminded me of what happened to Ozzy. Only Ozzy knew his time was limited, and he wanted to perform his last concert and say thank you to the fans and all that. And 17 days later, he passed away. Well, John Lodge was currently on tour, and his very last show was on August 7th. So here it is 2 months later, and he's gone.
And Dan, he was planning shows for November. They're scheduled. Yeah.
Well, obviously he didn't know he didn't know the end was coming. But I looked at his set list on his last show. He had two sets out on that show. At the end of one of the sets, he played "Ride My Seesaw." And the very last song he played was "I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band." So that was actually his last song he ever performed live. Was "I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band." I thought that was kind of pretty cool.
Yeah, God dang, that is, yeah. Well, you know what? I got
Ride My Seesaw, when that came out, I listened for it, Dan. When you used to have your transistor radio, and you're bebopping around on your Stingray, and you're going, when are they going to play that one next? That's the one, right up there within the year 2525,
I always loved the beginning of that "Ride My Seesaw."
Well, I gotta tell you, Horseman, Dawson's been sitting backstage, Dawson Walters, Rampage Video, since the show started, and he's been putting up some really fun comments. Look at the one up now. It's not in search of the lost chord. It's in search of the lost horse. He's put up a couple of really cool things like that. So it doesn't look like any of the normal rotation guys are going to show up. So I bring you the one, the only Dawson Walters.
There he is.
Hey, Dawson, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I like that hat. You look like you look like the Godfather with that blue hat on. So anyway, how are you? I would assume you're a Moody Blues fan.
Yeah, I was going to share the. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I have the set list. I've seen John Lodge on June 25th, 2019, at the Art Park Amphitheater in Lewiston, New York.
Wow,
well, you're doing better than I am.
Yeah.
So here's the set list. Steppin'. So it's a Steppin' in a Slide Zone, Saved by the Music, Legend of a Mind, Gemini Dream, Isn't Life Strange, I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band, and Ride My Seesaw.
Yeah.
Now for the finale, Ride My Seesaw, he had a special guest from a very big prog rock band. And that special guest was John Davison, the singer from Yes.
Oh, wow.
It was a part of a special prog rock night, and they sounded really good together. I mean, just the harmonies. But I could go more into that if you want. But that's my one of my Moody Blues experiences that I haven't shared yet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, that's great. I got a comment on this comment that's sitting on my screen from Star Trekker. Good to see you, Star Trekker. Royce, I keep getting ads for dating mature women over 50 on your stream. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
I love it.
That's good. You can't get him pregnant.
My buddy Eric Schultz is in the chat here tonight. Good to see you. Eric's got a channel. I not only subscribed, but I hit the notification bell, and he's in a band and he plays a lot of blues. And so every chance I get, I'll even if I don't leave a comment, I'll at least jump over there and give him a like and watch for a while, So check him
Cool.
out. Check him out. And Dawson, how is your podcast going? I haven't seen any notifications on anything.
So now I have access to the studio. I'm working on my account so I can use the bookings for the studio for the recordings, just because I'd like to have a certain standard, and then go from there.
That's good.
I mean, I go to concerts every week. I go to shows, and just my memory. I have a really good memory, so this is very good for the music community and. Whatever music shows there are, I'm glad that you go on and visit Caitlin's on Wednesdays and Fridays, and Michael and Dan and everybody. So this is a really good, training ground, and I live and breathe classic rock. So
we the other three panelists do the same thing, Dawson, and it's really good to not just have standards, but to set them for yourself. When you come on a show and we're all in the same rectangular configuration, there's not one guy tall and skinny, one guy wide, another guy wide, another guy tall and skinny. I mean, everybody needs to kind of, make it work with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this looks perfect when you got the screen split in fourths. Yeah. And when you get 5 or 6 people up and some of them are vertical and stuff, it's just I'm not going to use the word overwhelming or anything like that, but this just looks more professional. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, also, you haven't mentioned this, Royce. When we do it this way, the fourth panelist gets more time and we're aware of them. We're trying to give them the time to feature what they have to offer for tonight. So if you think about it that way, if you're not up every week, then you're given that extra time to make up for that.
Because there's fewer people up, yes.
And then tie that in with the lack of confusion of a larger panel. I think it's a very fair system myself, personally.
I think it's a fair system too. And like I said, we still have the rotating fourth horseman, the horse with no name.
It's definitely fair.
Or the Lost Horseman. But anyway, we've had a bunch of clever names people have used for it. You used one that was kind of a surprise. You wanted to call yourself Bull or something like that.
Oh no! So I'll be I'm Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse. Yeah, you mentioned that.
Now there you go.
There you go.
Like that.
I like that too. Yeah.
We need a crazy horse. We got a war horse. A crazy horses really throw some stang into the stream tonight.
The crazy horse is a really good fit.
Love it.
That's what we'd like too, for things to be a fit. Not like three horsemen that kind of fit the thing for a horse.
3 horse and a dog don't work.
And then somebody comes in and calls himself the giraffe or something.
No, I love Crazy Horse. That's great.
I love Crazy Horse too. That's a good one. Yeah.
If I had thought of that to begin with, I might have chosen that. That kind of fits me.
George Pita's kind of getting Caitlin riled up. He's asking her why she's not a horsewoman. That is a good point. We don't have a horsewoman. We don't have a horsewoman. We could be Annie Oakley or something,
We'd call her Thunderette.
From bull to a crazy horse. There you go. Well done. Jersey Devil says, well done, Dawson.
So I might have been where Crazy Horse was. I was at Head Smashed and Buffalo Jump in Alberta. That's where they ran the buffaloes off the edge of the cliff so that they can harvest them thousands of years ago.
Right.
And also one of the other stories was I've seen Neil Young live, and he played with Crazy Horse. But it was with the Chrome Hearts, which is very close to Crazy Horse, but his newer band. And so it makes very sense for this Canadian connection, and also for I've been a lot of places where there were Indigenous people, and I've seen sacred land. Obviously, couldn't walk on it, but I've been to many sacred Aboriginal places. So just to tie into your theme, that would be appropriate.
There you go.
Star Trekker, did you see this? I do have a Royce construction playlist, and one of my biggest videos are how to build a patio cover the right way. And he says, I was brought to this channel because I was searching for how to put a patio cover properly. You'd be surprised how many views I get a week of some of those old construction videos.
Yep.
I've actually got a video on my channel I did probably 10 years ago, and I think it still may be up, but it's not music related at all. It's about how to install a toilet.
Okay, yeah. Well, that would be fun.
Well, I discovered Royce's channel by one of his travel videos.
That's right. Yeah.
He was doing one on Haight-Ashbury. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I came to know Royce, was a travel video. Had nothing to do with rock and roll other than it was about Haight-Ashbury.
Well,
and I was interested.
Yeah.
I found it in my feed one day, and I went,
right.
Oh, and clicked on it. I go, who's this guy?
Jersey Devil would make a good horseman too. Look at this. My name would be Glue Horse.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, kind of sad. I mean, we had a couple of horses, and one of them was lame, and the other one was going blind. The pony that I bought for my daughter when she was 5 years old. Anyway, and they were just getting along in years. And
wow, that is a quandary, because the lame horse couldn't guide the blind horse.
Well, the one that was kind of lame was nicknamed Bones. I was working with a girl, and her boyfriend split up. It was her horse, but his property. Where I live in Atascadero, the average lot size is 1 acre. You can have a horse on it. So I've got llamas, alpacas, goats, chickens, wild turkeys, and donkeys, and others living right next door on this side. And then I have a lot that was kind of difficult to build on because it gets very, very wet. And I think if anybody built on it, the house would eventually start sinking. So all the people that looked at it, I showed them pictures, of how flooded that lot had been. And there's a high water table up here. You could dig a post hole 18 inches deep, and it'll fill up with water certain times a year. And you might be on the top of a hill when you do it, and you ask your grading contractor, why in the hell I'm at the top of this lot, and where's this water coming from? He goes, you see the mountain across the way? He goes, that's a lot of head pressure pushing that underground water. I go, makes sense now. But anyway, so
wait a minute, Royce. I want to know more about Bones the horse. When the blind horse died, did Bones turn to you and say he's dead, Jim?
No. What triggered this whole conversation, very, very stupidly on my part, I get off track, was the fact that there were people collecting horses and turning them into glue. And I always wondered if these guys that wanted to know if I wanted to let their horses go to this big beautiful pasture, if it was not quite a big beautiful pasture, I thought it'd be a good idea for them, because none of the kids were interested anymore. So anyway,
the fine print was in the sky.
In the sky, right? You never know, but they were sweet horses, and that kind of would bum me out if that's what happened.
I've often wondered too, what makes horses so sticky that they got to be turned into glue?
I don't know.
Dan, if you don't stop this horsing around, why I ought to.
Piccolina found me for the first time eating pizza at my favorite restaurant, is how she found me. And that had to have been Nardoni's. The most amazing pizza you've ever seen. And they closed the one down in the Atascadero. They still have one in Los Osos. I'm glad you brought that up, Piccolina.
Oh God, now we'll get a trillion comments on what's the best pizza. You just opened a can of worms.
No, we didn't. Okay, but this
you want to bet?
Right. Okay, so the group released 6 more albums. Okay, In Search of the Lost Chord, 68, On the Threshold of a Dream, 69. to our children's children in 1969. Okay, A Question of Balance, 1970. Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, 1971. And The Seventh Sojourn, which I have 72, which I have 2 copies of here. I probably need to send one of those to you, Michael. You don't have that album, do you?
No, not at all. That'd be nice. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I
that'd be great.
I got a surprise coming for you and Dan around the end of the month too.
The devil, you say?
You guys will be quite happy with it. Okay, so they toured extensively until they went on hiatus in 1974. The records from this period were among the most successful in the progressive rock genre, and produced FM radio hits such as Nights in White Satin, 67, charting again in 72 and in 79. There's been a lot of that lately, you know. Bands charting again after years and years. Tuesday Afternoon, 68. Question, 70, The Story in Your Eyes, charting again. 71, Isn't Life Strange, again, 72. I mean, it just goes on and on. I mean, these guys they had legs. Pinder left the following year, was replaced by former Yes keyboardist Patrick Moraz. Are you familiar with that, Michael? I know you're a big Yes fan.
Okay. Yeah. We talked about Patrick on my stream.
I remember. Okay,
was he really? And we talked about him the last time we covered the Moody Blues here, Royce. Was he really a member? And one of you guys brought up a cover that indicates that if it didn't say he's an actual member, it indicated that pretty much he was a member versus just somebody hired by them. But he wrote with them, he arranged for them, and he kept Mike Pender's spot for well covered as much as you could. He's not Mike Pender, but you know what, Royce, he's kind of like Jason Bonham to Led Zeppelin, not for the same reasons, but he's there, and I kind of include him as an official member, but he's not the classic lineup, but he's
not the classic lineup, yeah.
But after the classic lineup, that would with him on board would be my second favorite lineup of the Moody Blues. And don't forget, we got Long Distance Voyager. We got one of my favorite love songs of all time, and one of my wife's very favorite love songs of all time. It should have been a #1 Zoom and scream the airwaves, was I Know You're Out There Somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Way better than Jim and I Dream. And Jim and I Dream rocks crazily. But I Know You're Out There Somewhere. A call to that person that you know who will complete you. Oh, had my heart.
Right.
This old man, when he heard it, well, at that time I was in my late 40s. But that middle-aged man who, when he heard it, it just touched his heart. What a wonderful song. Right. What a wonderful song.
Well, what about that other song, Wildest Dreams?
Oh, yeah. God.
That's a great song.
Getting very close to I Know You're Out There Somewhere.
Yeah.
Good one, Dan. Good one. Yeah.
Okay, so the band stopped releasing albums after 2003? Yeah. But they continued to tour throughout the 2000s and later reunited periodically for events, one-off concerts, short tours, and cruises until Graham Edge, the last remaining original member, retired in 2018. They sold 70 million albums worldwide. Now check this out, guys, including 18 platinum and gold LPs. They produced 16 studio albums, 6 of which made the U.S. top 20, with 2 reaching #1, and 8 of which made the UK top 20, with 3 reaching #1. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2018, as previously mentioned, folks. Okay.
How many decades after they were nominatable? Okay, that was an insult. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has always ignored prog music, and there are several layers of prog. You can go King
Well,
Crimson and
there really
Yes
is. I mean,
direction, or you can go Moody Blues and Clat 2 direction, right?
Yeah.
And I love both directions. Both directions I'm a big fan of.
Do you put Pink Floyd at all in prog, or just strictly
They're somewhere in the
psychedelic?
middle.
Yeah.
To me, they're primarily a psychedelic band.
That's right. Yeah.
They never let go of that, even, but they learned to service the song. In other words, there's complete song structures, even with their more extended versions as they went along. And so, yes, but also there is prog all over that band. Of course, they're prog, but Pink Floyd is like an anomaly band. They are.
Yeah.
I can connect them to so many subgenres of rock music that it ain't funny. I can connect them to Bob Dylan, Pigs on a Wing. You know, I mean, they can get down and just acoustic guitar and just sitting down and going to talk about what I want to talk about. You know, that's Pink Floyd too.
Right.
You know. So what do you do with that? Well, that's why, you know, I've got the top 13 rock bands of Mount Rock Olympus on my channel. I talked about that tonight. Okay, the top 3 are the Beatles, who represent Zeus. Then comes Led Zeppelin, who represents Poseidon, second in charge. The other brother, that's why there's 13 bands. There were 12 gods in Olympus, but the other brother made it 13. He resided in Hades. That's why Pink Floyd represents Hades to me. They're murky. They're dark. They're mysterious. They're a lot of freaking things, Royce. Right?
Oh, I know.
But getting back to the Moody Blues, nobody owned this particular part of that subgenre better. Not even Clat 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. No, you can go through a lot of the bands that are psychedelic or prog, and you can pick out, I mean, you pick out so much blues in all of them, just blues cover type stuff in all of them.
Well, if they're interesting, there were some prog bands that were just pretty much right from the 17th century, and very little blues added to it. And there were even side projects. What about the Six Wives of Henry VIII by Rick Wakeman? I defy you to find blues on that album. It's like written from the 17th century, but performed on modern 20th century technological keyboards, you know. But it's a wonderful album. I have room for that, you know. But not all prog laid close to the blues. Yes, did so just enough that they were still rock and roll to me.
Okay, you know? Michael, you're the right person for this question based on last week's comments. You mentioned Henry VIII. Well, where would you place Herman's Hermits Henry VIII AM? Would you put that blues or prog or?
I would put that under claptrap.
Say that again.
Claptrap.
Claptrap. Okay.
I'm not a
I know.
Herman's Hermit.
That's why you were the one
at all.
That's why you were the one I asked.
Yeah,
I found that out last week.
Right. I'm more a fan of the guy. I always forget his name. Who's Herman?
Peter Noonan.
Peter Noonan.
Yeah, Peter Noonan and what he did after than I am of Herman's Hermit. So they're like when they first came out, I had to be 9 years old, and they were too silly for me then.
Let's all give our opinion of the Beatles. James Watson's comment: the Beatles became prog on Sgt. Pepper's album when they added Paul #2.
Actually, they became prog on the Revolver album, specifically, and the highest in hierarchy with Tomorrow Never Knows. But it can also be said that She Said was very proggish. And as far as The other type of prog, like the Moody Blues prog, I defy you to say that Eleanor Rigby doesn't have a hell of a lot of prog to it as well. So I would say that, and there might have even been hints of prog on Rubber Soul. I'd have to think about it. Certainly Nowhere Man kind of hints at some of the prog attempts. So, but they weren't prog primarily, but the Beatles could be prog. You know, the Beatles could be anything. That's why they're my number one band. The Beatles can fit. I'll find a Beatles song that'll fit it pretty much into any category of rock and roll. And
that's interesting because I've been going back through re-listening to a bunch of Beatles stuff. In fact, last week actually, I listened to. I'm listening to strictly the UK releases. I went through 4 of those last week.
Yeah,
and I'm just trying to take my time and really listen to them. And you know, because I'm listening to all UK releases, there's songs I haven't heard before. You know.
Yeah.
Quite a few. I'm not saying I like them all, but I mean, there's songs I haven't heard before.
Right. The UK versions. From this time forward, Royce, please, start listening to the Beatles through those albums. You know, and stay away from your American versions for a while, because despite what the Beatles are putting out these days and presenting themselves as being these days, which includes 2 Beatles only. All right. There was a time when the Beatles said, no. It is the UK versions. Those are the albums we created. All of this is bullshit. No, this is the statement we wanted to make. Now, once you get familiar with that and you get those rotations in your head, Royce, you'll have, I guarantee you, a deeper understanding of the Beatles. Absolutely will. You know, I guarantee it, man.
Well, I'm sure you're right. Like I said, I'm hearing a lot of stuff I haven't heard before because
when I started going over to them, I felt the same way. You know, my first time starting to listen to them, because I grew up on your albums, just like you did. You know,
I know. I want to say good night to Angela. Angela's leaving. Say good night.
Good night, Angela. Thanks for showing up.
Our good friend Dave, I Am Hot Frog's been in the chat for some time now. How you doing,
my
brother?
Goodness, I wish you had been up earlier, but then we wouldn't have had the marvelous, the wonderful. What did you call yourself? The Crazy Horse tonight.
Crazy Horse,
it all worked out.
Yeah.
I got a question about Moody Blues now. Would you consider Moody Blues having one of the very first concept albums, like on Days of Future Past? Because it basically tells a story.
I would say that,
yeah.
And Days of Future Past. Now think about it. It's kind of one day, as the songs go. But when they put in Tuesday afternoon, then it starts to represent 1 week. However, the whole song is about the cycle of life of man.
Yeah.
The life of man. Morning is when you're born and you're a young child. You know, mid-morning is you're a teeny bopper. Afternoon, you're a young man. And it goes through the whole thing. Concept album, yeah, definitely.
In most cases too, on that album, I'm trying to remember right offhand. Are there any breaks between the songs, or does it flood right into the next song? Because
a lot of them will flood in. I remember a lot of crossfading the last time I listened to it. I don't know how much that holds true. Maybe somebody in the audience.
Yeah, because a lot of times these concept albums don't get a lot of airplay at all because they're too long.
Right.
They have to kind of break it up. But I was thinking if Moody Blues had a break in between their songs and it's still a concept album, that's kind of smart thinking because then they get radio play, and they still got radio play anyway. But
yeah, often they'll go back. A lot of that crossfading is post-production anyway, Dan, and they're separate recordings. And for the singles, they'll go back to the separate recordings and remix them for a single, sometimes extending or lowering the time mount, So there was I'm trying to remember which song. Isn't it strange? Clocks in at a little over 6 minutes, but then 8 minutes on another version. See what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And that one is one of the songs by John Lodge. Yeah.
Well, I definitely agree with Al Val. He says psych rock and prog rock are cousins.
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
Easily see that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe a bit of a fine line even between the two, to be honest.
Maybe even kissing cousins, you know.
Maybe even worse. Incestuous cousins, or I don't know.
Now, Roy.
I know that was stupid. Anyway, Al Val. Beach Boys made early concept records about surfing, cars, and girls. Yes, and they were great. I love the Beach Boys. To this day, I love the Beach Boys. They are just
big fan.
They remind me of some really good times of life. The Beach Boys. Things seemed so much simpler and uncomplicated.
Yeah, the Beach Boys for me was from 9 years old to 12. They were wonderful.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
And then their really good hits after that were wonderful. But from 9 to 12, man, I didn't need a more hot looking band than that,
Oh no, that was perfect, man. That surf attire.
And so the Beatles and the Beach Boys, there were a bunch of bands. They were all kind of like in the same pile. I didn't become a major Beatle fan till I hit my maybe 12, right around there. Kind of started picking up on them a little more, and then going, oh, these guys are actually different than that pile of folk over there. And by the time I was 15, full-fledged, okay, I'll tell you their life story by gum. I was a Beatle, fanatic at that point, right? But the Beach Boys were, God, right along with the Everly Brothers, right along with the Four Seasons, were big time. I collected records by them,
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. It just popped into my head based on a few things I was just looking at. Have all of you seen the video for Tom Petty's Last Dance with Mary Jane?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that is Michael. It's very unique.
Yeah.
Very unique. You have to.
Well, tell us why, Royce. I mean,
okay. You have to go watch it. Okay, but what it is, and you don't pick this up at all in the song because really maybe was made just for the video, but it depicts necrophilia, and that's falling in love or having sex with a dead person. So he decided he wanted to do this video, and he wanted to have a really pretty actress. I'm trying to think of her name offhand, but she is very pretty. And she played the part of the woman that died in the morgue. He was working in the morgue. He took her home, dressed her in a gown, lit all the candles in the house, was holding this dead woman, dancing all over the house with her. And then he took her out to the water, and he released her, let her float in the water, and her eyes popped open as she was sinking. But
I thought that song was about pot.
Well, everybody does, and I'm not saying for sure it's not, because that's all part of. Go watch.
Of course it is. Some fool came up with that. That was at a time when they're making the hot videos and stuff, and a guy goes, "Yeah."
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jersey Devil. It was Kim Basinger.
Oh, you know what? I think I have seen this one actually. Now that you say it,
go watch my video. I did a video on that. A pre-recorded video. And I've got the pictures of her in there, and him dancing with her, holding her up and dancing with her, and him releasing her into the water. And they talked about the earlier theories on what it was about: possibly divorcing his wife, possibly weed. And then they throw this in the video, and it just threw,
All I hear is weed, 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 weed. When I hear that song.
Right. Well, that's just because you have weed on the brain, brother.
Well, either that or Mrs. Toad's magnificent.
Well, yeah, all one and the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think we all have a little bit of it on the brain.
Smoke them if you got them.
Caitlin, you sound like PETA. George PETA. Okay, folks. Well, any closing comments here, guys? Go ahead, Dawson.
When I seen John Lodge, so this was the lineup. It was called the Royal Affair Tour in 2019. The lineup was ELP's drummer Carl Palmer, so it was the Carl Palmer Experience. It was, and then Arthur Brown's Crazy World of Fire, and then John Lodge Moody Blues, Asia, and then Yes. So what I just realized now was yes, I did see John Lodge, but actually when Arthur Brown was playing and when Asia was playing, Carl Palmer was on there too. So I thought I was going years without even seeing Carl Palmer, and I actually seen and listened to Carl Palmer play the drums from ELP. So all these bands intertwine with each other and they tour with each other. So that was something I just realized. But as for Moody Blues, Michael was talking about the Red Rocks performance from I think 92 or 93, and that was amazing with the Moody Blues. I think live, John Lodge is a lot like Chris Squire. They're very jovial. They're very interactive with the audience. They move around. They're not like, just standing in the back, playing bass. They're really playing bass, and they have feel and the British factor, and he just made a great contribution to prog rock, psychedelic, and rock in general.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Kate, I got to put up a comment of Caitlin's, and she's on a roll here, Royce, I'm actually surprised you know what necrophilia is, laughing out loud.
I'm surprised Caitlin does.
Well, I know Caitlin does because she just watched that Netflix show called Monster.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, that's an awful, awful show.
Is it really? Okay.
Oh. We talked about that on Caitlin's show, and word of advice: if you do watch it, don't eat before you watch the movie.
Right.
Not my kind of horror. Then.
Well,
I like horror I like horror that scares you by the unknown. I don't need to see blood and guts too much. Well, now there's a couple of movies that are the exception to that I can watch, but for the most part, I like haunted movies. I like movies with the occult, things like that, darken things, and your monster movies. A well done werewolf movie.
Well, this series was made about based on the real life guy that Alfred Hitchcock used to make the movie Psycho. Is based on a true story.
Oh,
and it's a real life guy that did this, but I'm sure it's probably exaggerated. Maybe, I hope, because what type of human could do some of these things that portrayed in that movie? Oh my God.
Yeah.
The only time I watch Netflix is for Wednesday, the show Wednesday. It's the only reason I even keep it around. Most of their movies I own anyway. So
mine is Seinfeld. I watch Seinfeld on Netflix. So.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
At least half of Monster is true. But also, I had Thanksgiving dinner tonight, so I'm not watching that tonight.
Any Sons of Anarchy fans here?
Happy Thanksgiving. Many are celebrating it today, but tomorrow, I guess, officially is Canada's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody in Canada.
Thanks,
absolutely.
Tomorrow's Columbus Day here in the United States. So.
Oh, good.
I don't know what you do on Columbus Day.
Hopefully I can stay home. That'd be good enough.
Well, if you're part Indian, you might want to run.
Joseph Blue, I don't have any Moody Blues. 5 albums in a box CD are On the Threshold of a Dream, To Our Children's, Question of Balance, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, and Seventh Sojourn. Hey, you know what? While we're talking about, that was the list I have next to show. I might as well show them as my closing statement. This is To Our Children's Children. And then I
Children,
have
children's children.
Yeah. And here's a question of balance, and I really love this cover.
What a great cover!
Is that not? Look at that. There's Einstein right there.
Oh man.
Oh, there's some trippy stuff on here for sure.
Yeah, I've actually made that picture move.
Oh, you
Enough
have?
said. Enough said.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Back in the day.
The Moody Blues, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. I remember this and liking this years and years ago. Look at that.
Yep.
Talk about a trip. Okay, well,
and of course that represents the musical notes on the line of the treble clef. E, G, D deserves. Anyway, E, G, whatever it is. It's Michael, the treble clef.
This is a good boy right here. I wonder if his name is William. Okay.
No comment.
No, I know. I didn't want any comments. And this is the two that I have, Severance Sojourn. I have 2 copies of this. All right, so that's my Moody Blues albums, guys.
When I discovered Moody Blues in 1971, to me it was all new, and I heard one album. Well, then I had to go out and discover the other albums, not knowing how many good albums they had put up years before that I wasn't even. But to me, it was all brand new. It was all brand new to me.
Yeah, me too, Dan. Right. And that's pretty much I said how I found it. A friend's older sister. That was her favorite group. Her and her best friend, who they were older. They had their own apartment. They were going to college, and me and my friend would go over to there to swim. And of course, they'd take us places to the Haight-Ashbury. They'd take us to the Fun House down in San Francisco. And playing either on 8-track or at their apartment was the Moody Blues. And so that's how I was a Beatles fan due to the same friend's older brother who liked the Beatles. But it was Nan, who was the oldest of all 3 of them, that turned me on to the Moody Blues. I would peruse those covers, the ones that would open up, and they would be wearing those far out psychedelic flared slacks with 3-inch heels on their boots, not platform shoes, but real thick, you'd go, yeah, man. I find out, they order Nunn Bush boots. And so that was my first a pair of Italian Nunn Bush boots was because of the Moody Blues, man. They influenced me. They really did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they were cool. They were a good band.
They're up there with the Beatles, folks. I mean, they're not the Beatles, but they're up there with the Beatles. They're up there with the likes of Led Zeppelin. They're up there with the likes of Black Sabbath. Yes, King Crimson. You name all the big bands, from the 60s and 70s, and the Moody Blues are up there. They're right there on that level. Nobody puts the Moody Blues in a corner.
No.
No.
Nobody.
Major freaking band. And I said this on my stream, and this will be my closing statement, Royce.
Okay.
I said this on my stream. It seemed like when I was in my teens and 20s, the Moody Blues, like the Beatles, like Led Zeppelin, reinvented new fans just naturally, right? But then as I got into my 30s and 40s, I noticed that the airplay on these weren't. And there was a lot of corporate taking over on the airways at that time. And the Moody Blues, being Prog, weren't the ones that they decided to press and play. Instead, it was AC/DC. Not that that's wrong, but that's what they preferred to play. That was it. It was more of a classic rock, and Prog shall not enter it unless you're the Beatles. And even the Beatles on a lot of Prog or classic rock stations aren't even being played like they used to be, right? But then I noticed that. And then nowadays, it's like the Moody Who's. Yeah. And it's like, wait a freaking minute. It is time to stop the freaking bus and yell at the passengers, put your fucking seatbelts on, baby, because we're going for a ride and you're gonna be schooled. This was a major band and still is in the pantheons of rock. Enough said.
Yes, I agree, Michael. I
Yep.
agree. Anything
Amen,
else?
brother.
Right?
Say
Anything
it to
else,
the
guys?
crowd, nice and loud.
Well,
I'm telling you, I'm feeling the spirit here.
Some other rock news that happened this week too was Rush tickets went on sale, and that's been the big news here in the last few days.
Dan, did you get yours?
I got my tickets.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good.
great.
But, they put you in a queue. I mean, I did everything exactly like they said, everything, and I was waiting to go in a queue. They said there might be some people ahead of you, so I'm put in a queue. There's 8,000 people ahead of me, and that was actually good. I've heard people had 56,000 people ahead of them.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
And
Dan, I just did this on my stream and it got like 1,500 views, but then I shared a small portion of it. With that and the short connected, my channel got 10,000 views just on this Rush news.
And the thing that
amazing.
They said, when you're in the queue, it tells you, but they've released the prices and now the fees and everything have been added into one total figure. Well, now I don't know how much they're stiffing me for. I want to see it.
Lots and lots, Angel.
I want to see what their fees are, but now it just comes up with one number price. That's it. And
Okay.
So and it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
And later that night, I thought I knew sales were going pretty quick, so I thought I'm going to go in later tonight and see how many tickets are left. The show I'm going to is already sold out.
Yeah, welcome to the world of dynamic pricing.
Yeah.
So I went to a third-party ticket agency to see how much they're selling them for, and I found a ticket that was same exact show I'm going to, same section, but 16 rows behind me. Twice the price of what I paid. Twice the price.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to tell you how much I paid.
No, you don't have to.
We'll say it was a penny or two. How does that sound, Dan?
It was a lot of pennies. A lot of pennies.
I can only imagine. Such a.
In fact, I got to refinance. In fact, I got to refinance my house now. So.
Well, you can always.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't have a firstborn lying around somewhere.
Right.
Oh, good Lord. No,
okay,
this is
guys.
big news. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Dan, Michael, Dawson, thank you for hanging out and finally joining us. So appreciate all of you.
Thanks for having us on, Royce. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. And I want to say hi to the chat and really appreciate you guys being here. The chat is basically the heart and soul of the show, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's the heart and soul of the show. It really is. I know that phrase came up talking about John Lodge, but yes, the chat means so much to anybody on the panel. The chat means so much. So we want to thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. And go ahead. There's somebody. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, personally, I look at the chat almost like a sidekick. On the talk show.
Right.
Because they'll mention things. Oh, I didn't think about that. It helps us to discuss, more thoroughly what the subject matter is.
Exactly.
I always thought the chat was the fifth horseman myself.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I want to thank you once again. Thank you all in the chat. And that's what's happening in Royce's world today. And thank you also very much for joining us. And we will see you next week, if not sooner. Thanks, guys. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Right.